EverQuest 3 is likely happening, with the meeting not long ago regarding what it would look like and the hiring for it happening at Darkpaw aka Daybreak aka EG7, and with the new EverQuest hanging in the air, the entire MMO landscape feels very different. And for the first time in a long time, based on the conversations they had about what EverQuest 3 should be, it sounds like they understand the need for a more classically spirited MMORPG game design. They mentioned 80% of it should be familiar, 10% improved, and 10% new, and a need for it to be difficult and feel classic. Well, I already have a whole video about that meeting and what they discussed. Today I want to talk about my wish list. The things I want to see from EverQuest 3 and what I think would make the EverQuest fans happy and keep them playing, and of course bring in new players. Of course, this is all speculation. This is all for fun. But please come along with me on this journey and comment your thoughts on what you would want EverQuest 3 to be as well. My name is Nathan, I cover MMOs and RPGs, so please hit that like button like it owes you money and subscribe for more. Now I want to start this video with a bit of realism. The true feeling of logging into EverQuest for the first time back in the day cannot be fully replicated without some sort of major absurd jump in technology. When the internet was new, when MMOs were new, when the players were setting the boundaries and the etiquette, when a trip from Keynotes to Freeport felt like a true and impossible journey across a continent where anything was possible with the power of the internet, the excitement of playing with other real people, and the revelations of learning how everything worked, those days may be over. But there are ways to awe us and have our jaws drop open in a mouth-breathing frenzy. And that's what I think EverQuest 3 needs to try to accomplish. And here's how I think they could pull it off. Number one, EverQuest 3 needs to have a massive and complicated world. When we step out from our starting city, we should look around us in awe, seeing a world of adventure and excitement full of more things to do than we as humans could possibly ever accomplish, or at least make us feel that way. Let our mouths drop open as we stare across the wilderness, filled with treacherous monsters, and as our mouth breathing begins to quicken, keep us hooked, with nooks and crannies ripe for exploration and discovery. I'm talking about world design here. There is a trick in video game design to make the player feel like they have unlimited options and freedom in an open world environment. The trick is called the 60-second rule. Every 60 seconds of running, the player should see something cool. A tower, a dungeon cave entrance, a wizard fighting a demigorgon, an island off the coast, something, a point of interest, or something that catches our eye. The developers of EverQuest 3 need to use this philosophy and let the world guide us. Don't overload us with UI, keep the UI clean. Let the points of interest pull us to the next destination in a free and open way. Don't lead us by the nose with quest designs and GPS map markers. Make it look cool, and we will go there. Put a cool mob there, and we will carefully inspect it. Let the world speak to us, and we will listen, and not only will we explore and try to discover, we'll get hooked in your world and never want to leave. Just one more minute. I just got this one last thing I want to check out. Just this one more mob to kill. Just this one more drop before I call it a night. And so we say, until dawn breaks, and it's time to go to work. And we're like, oh crap, I didn't sleep. I played EverQuest 3 all night. That's what you need. Number two, EverQuest 3 needs to have classic class design. The original Dungeons & Dragons classes are perfect fits for EverQuest. That's why they used them when making the original EverQuest. It's darn well near perfect fantasy. There's no reason to recreate new classes or design philosophies. We're nerds. We like our warriors and paladins, Shadowknights, enchanters, wizards, druids, clerics, rangers, and so forth. Take the class design straight out of EverQuest 1 and then put it into EverQuest 3. There may need to be a couple of concessions made, but keep the spirit of each class the same. It worked then, and it's gonna work now. Classes have to matter. They have to have their own identity. One of the reasons EverQuest was so addicting was trying other classes or playing with other classes. And understanding how adding an Enchanter to your group completely changes the way your group plays. And that's true for all the classes. A different party makeup changes the way you approach the world and your group and the challenges that your group is going to come across. Take, for example, the difference between having a monk to pull in your group versus a paladin pulling. These are two totally different play styles and adventures. This kind of class design needs to be a staple. It just works. You don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. Sometimes the wheel works just fine. Number 3. EverQuest 3 needs to embrace public dungeons and the dynamics it causes, but also understand that some things have to be instanced as well. There is nothing wrong with doing a combination of both to appeal to everyone with different time schedules. I wish so bad I could just say, leave everything open in no instances. But the reality is, for things like raid bosses, for example, to avoid one major mega guild controlling it and ruining it for everyone else, and because we all got lives and responsibilities, unfortunately, some instancing is outright required in MMOs these days. But don't forget the EverQuest roots allow for massive dungeon designs, like Guck. Heck, you can use the exact same maps in many cases from EQ1. Just add a few new paths and routes and secrets. The map designs for the dungeons in EverQuest are still something to be excited about. They are huge and complicated and horrifying to explore. Just don't do Catch Keep again. Let's just forget about that one. Let's just move on from Catch Keep, okay? I'm joking. Do Catch Keep. That's freaking terrifying, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. And the feeling of seeing others in these massive open-ended dungeons is a magical experience that has to stay. It is so core to EverQuest. It's core to what EverQuest is. MMORPGs are meant to be played with other people. Design your dungeons for group-centric gameplay, with named mobs, with bosses, with loot and rare drops, and watch the players flock there, hoping for a good RNG. Number 4, EverQuest 3 has to have factions, and lots of them. Nothing screams this is a real world than having certain people hate your guts and want to punch you right in the face until you're a corpse, like having a faction system that means, in many cases, one faction loves you, another hates you. Knowing that a certain race or class can't go to a certain area and the amount of adventure that causes, or the feeling of grinding out reputation until you can enter that city or place, is just unimaginably nerdy and cool, and gratifying. Factions are something completely ignored or have been casualized to the point of no longer having the same meaning in modern MMOs. It's time for EverQuest to return and show what a real faction system looks like. I want to con guards outside of an elf city to make sure they don't hate me before I approach. And if they do hate me, how bad do they hate me? Are they gonna kill me, hate me, or they just don't like me but they'll tolerate me? I want to feel cool and special because the dwarves love me. I want that exclusive kind of feeling when you grind out reputation and get to explore somewhere new and have access to new shops and taverns, new lore and quests and opportunities. The amount of time players will spend in a world because of a good faction system can't be understated. It's extremely important and needs to be a huge part of gameplay loop for EverQuest 3. Hands down. Number 5, EverQuest 3 has to make us, the players, respect the world. And one way of doing that is the death penalty. I think Embers Adrift has this down to a science. We die, we drop our stuff in our inventory, but we keep the armor we have on. We do not lose experience. But perhaps an experience debt that a portion of our XP going forward will be going towards that debt to recover it. But you definitely, I would want an arrow pointing in the direction to my corpse, maybe up on my portrait like Embers Adrift does. It's fair. We still gotta get our stuff back. It makes banks more important, and we still get a corpse run. But without the stuff that makes us want to rage quit. Offer the ability to drag corpses, offer things like necros, being able to recover a corpse, all the things from EverQuest, but in my opinion, you will have to drop the XP loss. I doubt anybody actually wants to lose a level. That sucks, man. That's not cool. That's not cool, bro. But we need to be afraid of death. It creates the butt-puckering moments and memories and is just essential for everyone in the MMO to respect the world and enter new places with a feeling of mixed excitement and dread. The world feels more alive in this way, and also danger feels like real danger. That's important. because that leads to the world having that sense of discovery and more fun to explore, and it's a reward for leveling up. It's a reward for being good playing your character, or having a full group, or having that confidence to go and explore that place. All that's dead if the death penalty sucks. And by suck, I mean, that's kind of confusing. You know what I mean. It needs a good death penalty. Number 6. Don't underestimate the influence of EverQuest. It's not just the people that have played the original that are fascinated with EverQuest. A modern-looking EverQuest with a modern UI would attract a ton of new players who simply don't play EverQuest right now because for them, without nostalgia for it, they feel it is too late to start now. They're turned away from the UI or the old graphics. By releasing an EverQuest 3 that fixes the UI and the graphics look great, as long as it also runs good, you will pull in hundreds of thousands of people who've always wondered what EverQuest is like, but held back from finding out what it is like because it's old, and those restraints are really hard for a new player to get over. This is the solution Dark Paul needs. Same classic addicting gameplay loop, new looking graphics, and a nice, clean, easy to understand modern UI. And these are my thoughts on what I think would make EverQuest 3 successful, my top priorities of what, if I worked there for EG7 and was helping them kind of lay out the groundwork for what EverQuest 3 is, these are the things I would tell them to focus on. Of course, this conversation could go on all day, but I think that these things would make EverQuest 3 successful and beloved by the current community, as well as bring in a ton of new players, with an MMO that feels refreshing and yet familiar, and one made in this style would stand up against all the WoW clones and make it unique enough to make a stand and hold up for many decades. But I know there are things burning on your mind, so please leave a comment on what you think EverQuest 3 needs to do and be. And let's talk. Don't forget to hit that like button like it owes you money, and please subscribe for more content on your way out. And until next time, my friends, God bless and happy gaming. I want to give a very special thank you to the members of Napalm for your contributions month over month in keeping me full time. You help me pay the bills so I can keep streaming and pumping out content, and I truly appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, and I think you might be interested in becoming a member of the channel. Please click the join button down below the video for more information and join our family. And I want to give an extremely big shout out to the Lords of Napalm: Bounty Code, Jared Woodhouse, Daimlos, Sparrow, Random Rob, Rodney Mom, Galerain Moonsong, What's the Takeaway, Bad Wolf Gaming, Cobalt, William Long, Robert Daneka, Ohalo, and Angel Tariq. Thank you for your highest tier membership.